school, the wooden pillars that hold up the roof. This guy, you realize, will dance with anything. He likes the idea. Then he picks up some lady's discarded sandals, holds them next to his head like seashells, donkey ears, nothing, his body states, is safe from the dance of ideas. Cornelis Eddy. The piece I read was Poet Dances with Inanimate Objects for Jim Skeevy.
Off go the crows from the roof. They can't hold on. They might as well be perched on the oil slick. Their embarrassing dance, these men in their spotted black coats. Such a tipsy dance. Such an embarrassing dance when love goes wrong in front of everyone. Crows Off the Strong Winds by Cornelius Eady.
Everybody, say thank you.
I am 5 or 6 years old, and my mother is on her knees. She is at the county welfare office, and the assistant that she hoped for, well, that isn't going to happen. My mother has 3 children, and whatever our daddy is doing, either isn't enough or it's barely too much. Since our arguments will not move whomever is sitting behind this desk and at the top of her head, my mother has fallen for love, for mercy, for her children, to her knees. There will be no pity for whatever sorrows have put her to this. O careless love, O easy rider, off their hard luck floor. Hesitation Blues by Cornelius Eady.
My father's a sealed tin of dust riding in the trunk of my rental car. My sister and niece are in the back seat, and I choose not to inform him of this. Later, I'll be with my cousin at the church where the memorial service was held. I will set the box on the curb while we talk. I am carrying around the rubble of a man who loved to call me stupid, who made my sister feel like nothing, and who drove my mother nuts. I have done this in order to shave a few dollars off the funeral costs. I tell myself, as a small part of me gives in, fans to smoldering pleasure. Fetching Bones by Cornelius Eady.
I am 5 or 6 years old and my mother is on her knees. She's at the county welfare office and something has gone wrong. The assistance she had hoped for isn't going to happen, and now she's at the end of her rope. She has 3 children, and whatever our daddy is doing, it either isn't enough or it's barely too much. And since our arguments will not move whomever is sitting behind this desk, looking at the top of her head, my mother has fallen for love, for mercy, for her children to her knees. But there will be no pity for whatever sorrows have pushed her to this. To the ears I can't fully remember. Her sorrows must have rung of backdoor blues. But how impatient they must have become for my mother to rise. O careless love, O easy rider, off their hardwood floor. Hesitation Blues by Cornelius Eady.
My Madame says she still has dreams of walking to the English school. Afraid because she has no words for the cru du pain étouffée. She's brought for lunch knowing she'll kneel on rice for hours, or worse be seen march around the flagpole with 1 red brick in each hand, while Blantatus giggle and sing songs about her. She said these dreams last for days, useless like food on the tongue unswallowed. When she wakes, her knuckles ache so fierce it takes her most of the morning to lay her fingers straight longer before her knees feel right for walking. Bogley by Jack Bedell.
There are nights when I have complete control of the stereo. Nights when I can put on Coltrane without my wife's face dropping to a frown. Those nights I can step out the back door with the inexcusable pleasure of Elvin Jones harassing the snare with his left hand, tickling more sound out of his cymbal than any one of them should be able to get, and kicking just enough ahead of the beat to make the whole band chase his time. There's an undertone of harmony in Jones' kit I have to explain to my sons one day. Hopefully in moonlight, hopefully soon. I'll load them into a golf cart with drinks and clubs and a jam box. Take them out onto 9th Green behind our house and let them loose and do whatever damage they can out of earshot of their mother. I'll play the music for them. Tell them it's the same sound my blood makes going through my ear, hoping they'll listen long enough to understand before one of them asks to shut off the noise or put something with words in it. Before I have to tell them it's the words that mess things up sometimes. Elvin Jones at Midnight by Jack Bedell.
No matter how many times the gang warden busted his nose, dragged in the bed of his truck, and drove back out to the killer's farm, the gator found his way back. back in the same grass between the old city hall and the daiquiri shop. Somewhere in his pecan shell brain, he knew this spot, smack down in the middle of town, his home. Or maybe it was the smell of feet on wine, or the magnetism coming off the train tracks close to Jug Junction. Or maybe this way it took itself out of an egg a quarter century ago. Whatever. It would cross a mile of silk, clownfishes, dodge cars, the precious better there, and nothing could shake off that need. Eventually, it was the warden to get over the ways and put the pin around it as it lay with this pool. They went in a pin of shape of God of the sun. Every now and then, the rock kids tell her low to show how the world goes around stubbornness. They slap the fence and beg it to show its teeth and hiss. Again, it just spreads its rear at the bottom of the pool and breathes. Evolution by Jack Bedell.
I took Highway 16 north out of town for the first time the other day. Not 2 miles out, the flat, piney land I lived in for a decade and a half turned to rolling hills. There was sweetgrass and dairy farms on both sides of the road, like nothing else in Louisiana. Treeless and filled with black and white Guernseys, lolling around cow ponds, haystacks, and red barns in the distance. Every hill I topped offered a scene straight from a butter box, complete with farmhouse and green tractor. I couldn't help but feel that I'd taken a wrong turn somewhere. And then unexpectedly, the road crooked east. Every foot of pasture land as far as the eye could see was covered with geese, Canada geese, about a foot tall and big around as my 6-year-old son. Most were grazing, but some were honking and watching for what might come to pass occasionally. I slowed my truck at the foot of a hill, just to try for a rough count. I counted 10 by 10 until I confused myself. There were hundreds, maybe thousands of these geese, so loud and out of place. I couldn't help but shake my head and laugh. What a morning it must have been for that farmer to come out on his porch, hot coffee and newspaper in hand, to find that this flock had landed. The Geese on Highway 16 by Jack Bedell.
Some nights, a shadow bends towards the back porch, and what winds there carries a scent that sends the dogs to grumbling. It doesn't matter that all the knives are put away and all the locks are latched. The moon has risen over the field, and coons and tree frogs press their bellies against cypress and keep quiet. These nights, mothers warn their children to keep their hands and feet over the mattress. The loup-garou is coming for their fingers and toes. It doesn't have to come as the wolf or the fog. It could easily be the blue heron creaking just behind a children's cane, or the nighthawk racing each field for mice. Any light-footed shape can bring it close enough to make free zones, and nothing, not even an infant's calm breath, can keep it back until the sun has risen over the field and burns his eyes away. Loup-garou by Jack Bedell. She walks different. Not awkward and not at all boastful, but different. The momentum and sway of her arms are just supplementary to the statement she makes with every step. The way she does it. Heads turn instantly. And not with a simple glance, but with a stare of amazement. A stare that seems to have an enchantment over it. She walks with a stride, sass, confidence that will make knees buckle and arms lift to praise. She, the nation's power source. She walks with an unimaginable strength and a heart of a mammoth that can only be complemented by the rays of the sun to show off her melanin glow. That walk. It's the walk of pride, understanding. The walk that's different. Only can be produced by her. The Walk of a Black Queen by Tanaya Malcolm.
Good job. Thank you.
No matter how many times the gay wardens busted his nose, dragged to the back of their truck, and drove back out to Kilbert's farm, to get her finally back. Back to the same grass between the old city hall and the daiquiri shop. Somewhere in its pecan shell brain, it knew this spot, smack in the middle of town, as home. Maybe it was the smell of the feed plant upwind, or the magnetism coming off the train tracks. so close to the junction. Maybe this was where it took itself out of its part of century or whatever. It would cross a mile of silk, climb fences, and dodge cars and press its belly there. Nothing shake it off that. Eventually, it was gay waters who carried their way and built a pit around it as its lake, with a pool on one end and plenty of shade for it to get out of the sun. Every now and then, I bring my kids to tell it hello. See how the world goes around stubbornness. They slap the fence and beg to show its teeth and hiss. The gator just spreads its ribs on the bottom of his pool and breathes. That way we should not get there.
Off goes the crows from the rooftop. The crows can't hold on. They might as well be perched on another slip. Such an awkward dance. The gentlemen in spotted black coats. Such a tipsy dance, as if they didn't know where they were. Such a humorous dance, as they try to set things right, the one reduces them. Such a sorrowful dance. How embarrassing is love when it goes wrong in front of everyone.
Some nights they shuttle bends the sugar cane towards the back porch, and what the wind there is carries a scent that starts the dog to grumbling. It doesn't matter that all the locks are latched and all the knives are put away. The moon has risen over the fields and cones and tree falls. Press day ballads against cypress and keep quiet. These are nice mothers warn their children to keep their hands and feet over the mattresses. The loup-garou is coming for their fingers and toes. It doesn't have to come as wolf. Oh my God. Wolf or fall. It comes easily. The blue heron creeping just behind the children's cane, or the night awoke raising each row for each field mice. Any light-footed shape can bring it close enough to make prisons. Anything, not even an infant calm breath, can keep it back until the sun climbs over the cane and burns its eyes away. Loup-garou by Jack Badal.
The furnace wheezes like it just slumped. You can't fix it. The toilet babbles like a speed freak. You can't fix it. The fuse box is necessarily. You can't fix it. The screens yawn the beast through. Your fingers are dumb against the hammer. Your eyes can't tell plums from plums. The frost heaves against the door jambs. The ice turns the power lines to brittle candy. No one told you about how things pop and frizzle. No one schooled you in square parts. That's why the guy says, but doesn't say, as he talks his lingo at your apartment door their ears. A bit bemused, a touch impatient. After the spring melt has wrecked something, stopped something. After the hard wind has lifted something away, the mystery has plugged the pipes. The rattler coughs up something sinister, an easy fix, but not for you. It's different when you own it, but when it's yours, he says, as the meter runs, then smiles like an adult. Handyman by Cornelius Edie.
The furnace wheezes like a drenched lung. You can't fix it. The toilet babbles like a speed freak. You can't fix it. The fuse box is a nest of rattlers. You can't fix it. The screen yawns the beast through. Your fingers are dumb against the hammer. Your eyes can't tell plum from plums. The frost heaves against the door jambs. The ice turns the power lines to brittle candy. No one told you that things can pop and fizzle. No one schooled you in spare parts. That's what the guy say, but doesn't say as he tosses his lingo at your apartment dweller ears. A bit bemused, a touch impatient. After the spring melt has wrecked something, stopped something. After the hard wind has lifted something away. After the mixture has plugged the pipes. The rattle coughs up something sinister. An easy fix, but not for you. It's different when you own it, when it's yours, he says as the meter runs, then smiles like an adult. Handyman by Cornelius Edie. Mama Moran says she still has dreams of walking to English school, afraid because she has no words for the Cronto dependent etouffee. She's bought for lunch, knowing she'll kneel on rice for hours, or worse, be sent to march around the flagpole with one red brick in each hand, while blonde tattoos from the front of the class giggle and sing songs about her. She says these dreams last for days, useless like food on the tongue, unswallowed. When she wakes up, her knuckles ache, so fierce it takes her most of the morning to lay her fingers straight, and longer before her knees fail, right for walking. Boogly by Jack Bedell.
A shadow bends the sugar cane towards the back porch, and what wind there is carries a scent that starts the dogs to grumbling. It doesn't matter if all the locks are latched and knives are put away. The moon has risen over the field, and the coons and tree frogs press their bellies against the cypress and keep quiet. These are nights mothers warn their children to keep their hands and feet over the mattress. The loup-garou is coming for their fingers and toes. It doesn't have to come as the wolf or the frog. It could easily be the blue heron creeping around the children's cane, or the nighthawk raising each row for a field mice. Loup-garou.
There are nights when I have complete control of the stereo. Nights when I can put on Coltrane without my wife's face dropping into a frown. Those nights I can step out to the back door with the inexcusable pleasure of Elvin Jones, harassing the snare with his left hand, tickling more sounds of his cymbal than any other limb could ever get, and kicking just enough ahead of the beat to make his whole band chase his time. There's an undertone in Jones' kit that I know one day I'll have to explain to my sons, hopefully in the moonlight, hopefully soon. I'll take them out to the night green with the golf cart, load them up with drinks and clubs and a jam box. Then I'll play the music for them. Then I'll tell them that it's the sound my blood makes going through my ears. Hopefully they'll listen long enough to understand before one of them asks to shut off the music or put something with words in it. Before I have to tell them, it's the words that mess things up sometimes. Elvin Jones at Midnight by Jack Bedell.
I took Highway 16 north of the town for the first time the other day. Not even 2 miles out of that flat, piney land I lived in for a decade and a half. Offered sweet grasses, rolling hills, and dairy farms on each side of the road. Like nothing else in Louisiana. Treeless land with black and white Guernseys lolling around cow ponds, haystacks, and red barns in the distance. Each hill topped off with the image of a butterbox, complete with farmhouse and green tractor. But I felt I'd taken a wrong turn somewhere. Unexpectedly, the road crooked east. In each foot of pasture land was covered in geese, Canada geese. Each around a yard tall and as wide around as my 6-year-old son. Most were grazing, but some were on guard, carefully watching and honking for whatever would pass by. I slowed my car down at the foot of a hill so I could get a rough count. I counted 10 by 10 until I confused myself. There had to be hundreds, possibly thousands of these geese, each all loud and out of order. I had to pull over, get out of my truck, and laugh. One morning it must have been for a farmer, out on his porch in the morning, hot coffee and newspaper in hand to see that this flock had left. The geese on Highway 16.
Driving north towards you over spillways and marshes, I lose myself to highway lines and am pulled from the world of road signs and rest stops. Warning marks under my tire become enemy fire. Gauge needles pop left and I pull the lever to float free of the wreckage. Dangling safely in the air, I am the maker in the sky. The smoke from my dying Corsair wraps around me. Red ducks V by and I conduct their passing. I shape the rising land into colored squares and textures. No magic ocean filled with sharks, but a marsh very much like home, with reeds to swallow me. As I lie on my back, wet to the ears, I survey the sky I made. blue holdings all above me. My parachute falls like a wedding dress over a rising cypress tree. The Maker in the Sky by Jack Bedale.
Dill, do you know how crazy you sound? Simone turned to Johnny. You see what I'm dealing with now, don't you? I got a grandson under the impression that any trouble he gets into, so long as he manages to limp away from it somehow, is no big deal. And I keep trying to tell him, so long as you're doing wrong, whatever little chump change you might be able to pick up in the meantime is no big, don't count so nearly as much as your good name. Chump change, Andre snorted. I don't know what you think I was doing last night, but I'm telling you, you got it wrong. I really was just trying to help a friend. Besides, if I was doing something for money, you can be sure it wouldn't be chump change. Because I know how to count zeros, Grandma. You're so busy counting zeros, you're missing the point. People judge you on what you show the world. Stop showing your Simone said. It's just sad is all. In the old days, when we were coming up, we knew who we were. And we knew what was worth fighting for. Kids these days, well, they seem to just stumble around in a state of confusion. Ain't got nothing, ain't got nobody. They're so busy chasing after nonsense. They don't realize it. That's all it is. Well, then you just said it yourself. Times have changed. Simone frowned. Ain't nothing changed, boy. Not really. Not since my day, not since the Rib Kings. You gotta know who you are in this world. Decide for yourself what you want the world to see, and then make sure everyone else sees it too. The Talented Ripkins by Ladie Hubbard.
This was Festival of Words Drive-By Poets of Sunset, and we thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Jack Bedell, come on in.
Yeah, right, and that's part of what being a poet is, right? You put it down and play it.
We didn't have enough room on the bus, so we're good.
Well, you said the first people to go.